For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
WFO Radio is back in the studio for like 48 minutes before we head to Brainerd, Minnesota. The Menards NHRA Nationals presented by Pet Armor was hot. It was hot, but we got it in. And it's one of those events like in your work life, your professional life, where you look back, like you didn't think you were going to do it. We did it. We got it in. And it was very difficult, but also very fun and very fulfilling. Walking out of there, speaking with a lot of people, just a lot of high fives and people shaking their heads. Like never thought we would be able to get out of there on Sunday night, having run the race, had racers win the race, and able to talk about it in its completion here on WFO Radio. So here's the deal. We got a lot of great stuff happening on the show. Justin Ashley going to be joining us to talk about his 6th win in Top Fuel. We're going to get to that, Justin, at the bottom of the hour. About 30 minutes from now, he's in a meeting. Alan Reinhart was on a plane. He's flying. He's texting. I was running the start of the show. I'll figure that out, and we'll get it all sorted out. Alan was going to join us right after. So we will see. I'm going to tell you about the great sponsors on the show, but I did get a note right at the, like during the race, like, hey, I got something going on and I would like to tell the WFO universe about it because I would like to get the word out. And so she knows exactly where to go to pump something right into the heart of NHRA drag racing. It's like in Pulp Fiction, right? Give her the shot. And that's what we're about to do. As Krista Baldwin joins the show, please share the show so whatever it is that Krista is about to tell us about will get out there to the world of drag racing. Of course, we've got the vast audience, audio only as well. Hey, Krista, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad that the heat is done because that was rough this weekend. I'm not going to lie.
Is it though? Is it though? I don't know what's going to happen in Brainerd. I would be shocked if it was that hot up there, but yes. Wasn't that just brutal? It was brutal.
Horrible. Like all 3 days were horrible. There wasn't just like one day where it's like off the charts. No, it was all 3 days were absolutely horribly sweaty people. Yeah. Sweaty.
So I wear, just to let everybody behind the scenes, you know, I've got those like tight fitting compression t-shirts that I wear when I'm out there. There is this, myth that maybe it makes me look skinnier, but really it just kind of holds everything in, and standing around all day, I find them to be great. Just soaked at the end of every day, just absolutely soaked. Water is not enough to stay hydrated. People were telling people drink water. I was just drinking and drinking and drinking. Fortunately, working for NHRA on Fox, we had a hit in Buddy Hull's pit area. Buddy was on the show last week. He's like, would you like a Gatorade or Powerade? And I was like, yes. And sure enough, made all the difference in the world. Just survival was challenging. And I'm not complaining. I'm not saying what I do is difficult, standing outside for 14 straight hours. That's not hard compared to what you guys do. I think about Justin and Brittany after that entire day, getting in those fire suits and having to strap in and have their most consequential run be their final run when they're most fatigued. That is an aspect of the sport we don't really talk about, being in those fire suits, just baking, roasting for hours on end.
It's rough. It's not fun at that point. I mean, obviously a lot of things happen when you hit that gas, the adrenaline is pumping, but when you get out of the car at the top end, it's a whole other exhausted. Like it just adds a whole other layer of, mentally and physically you are exhausted after that run. But everyone's champs. Everyone knows how to, make themselves hydrated, and they just got to keep doing it. And believe me, it's tough. But like you said, I don't want to complain because I love what we do.
There's a
But
guy out there.
man.
He's digging a ditch. He's a fan. He goes out. He's putting in a swimming pool. Hopefully he's compensated well, but that's how he feeds his family. And, you know, I'm going to a drag race. I'm not complaining about anything ever at any point publicly. But it's, you know, things, hey, if you don't complain, things will never get better. Right? The word complain is kind of negative. How about constructive criticism or just submitting an idea to the idea fund? This guy says it's going to be 90 out there, 90 on Saturday, 88 on Sunday. And that kind of makes me feel good. Like that's actually an improvement.
Yeah, it's actually way cooler than it was in Topeka. But also, I feel like 90 in Brainerd and 90 in Topeka are two different 90s.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So it'll be, I think it's going to be cooler in Brainerd.
The land of 10,000 lakes, right? There's water around. People ask me about South Florida. Isn't it hot like this down there? And it's like, it's hot, but it's not like this. It's just totally a different experience. All right, everybody, share the show. We've got to defeat the algorithm. The social media algorithm is always trying to hold us down. They're like the man trying to keep us down. But what we're going to do is we're going to beat them. Everybody's going to share the show. Why? To help me? No. To help this one over here, some sort of news. So let's get into that, right? Justin's coming on. I'm going to tell everybody about our great sponsors. I got Project Pontiac updates. I'm going to tell everybody how to get WFO stickers at the track, all kinds of great news. I went and saw Flying H Motorsports Park. I've got a video. We're going to drop that later on today. But what's up with Krista Baldwin and how can the WFO universe be of assistance?
Okay. So this is what's happening. So I started the year out with my own car, the same car that my grandpa had. Went out to Phoenix, Vegas, and Pomona. As you guys maybe remember, Vegas was probably not one of my shining moments. It was just difficult. We were trying to push the car to go faster. We wanted to apply that clutch at a quicker time so I can continue to I'm fighting to get into the 370s. And we were so close last year, you know, with our 381 run in Brainerd. And earlier this year, we went 385, 386. Like we were on the right path. Come to find out, we honestly think that it is actually the chassis that is holding us back. The chassis is DSR 001. It's the first car that DSR ever made, and that's the car that my grandpa had. And it works great if I wanted to go out there and run 385 and just go up and down the track. Well, today, as you guys can see, even in Topeka, where it was 1,000 degrees out, you still got to run 370s to be competitive in this class. So here's the issue is I actually found a ride. I'm actually going to rent a car from another team owner for Dallas, Vegas, and Pomona. Well, until about a week and a half ago, I found out that I was not able to go back to Dallas because his first driver decided they wanted to go to Dallas instead. So I'm trying to put it out there into the universe and hopefully something can come back to me. But I have the money, I have a helmet, and I am ready to drive something for Dallas. It's been difficult. I've called and called and called. I've texted people. I'm even still texting people right now. I have like 5 text messages out just to make sure that, are they sure they want to drive in Dallas? I mean, I will bring a check with me to drive their car. So that is what I'm putting out into the universe is I'm trying to get to Dallas. I'm for sure going to Vegas and Pomona at the end of the year. But it just, the whole thing about the chassis has been really difficult in the sense of there is not one chassis to buy in Brownsburg or Ypsilanti at all.
Right.
And I cannot, and now I have to wait until the season is over when, you know, all the teams now have their current cars and they're just going to cycle them out to get new cars for next year. So I am in quite a pickle. I'm not going to lie. I have sponsors that I have to answer to, and they are aware of the situation that I am in, and they are aware that, you know, they're going to stay with me, and they know I'm just in this really tough spot for the last about 6 months. So that is the request.
Okay, well, no, this is great. Okay, because first of all, the Stampede, we're talking about the Stampede of Speed, which that's a big deal unto itself. Like it's this mega event, 2 weeks long or 10 days long. I'll be getting in there the Thursday before the event, like 2 Thursdays before. The cattle drive. Our WFO Patreons are doing a big meetup out there at the Stampede of Speed. So there's been a lot of discussion about it. They're going to be giving our audience a QR code to scan to get tickets for all different events. The Champions Dinner, we're going to be announcing. There's a lot of stuff going on around the Stampede of Speed. So of course you want to go. So just so I understand, like, let's go back to the chassis. TJ Zizzo laid this all out for us. And I feel like you guys are in the same situation.
Same thing.
Except he called himself a stubborn Italian, right? I'm a stubborn Italian. And that he loved his car. It's not like it used to be where you have your personal car that you love and you just ride it till forever. It's no longer competitive. And by racing it, you're wasting your time and resources. I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is. You have limited time, limited resources. You have these sponsors, you have the knowledge, you have the know-how, you've got the people. The car will not allow you. This was DSR chassis one. That I remember the story that Don loves your grandfather and said, we want to help and all of those things. But that car is just no longer competitive for what you want to do now. So you've got something like a plan working, but you've got a sponsor for the Stampede of Speed. And so you need someone to understand this situation. And let's talk about what's possible, like a backup car, a second car to put you in the seat, a team that is there or going or has a car in that's ready, that's just sitting there. There's a lot of people out there that have cars that are second cars that are able to go out there, that you want to be able to jump in the second seat. And most importantly, this is not a charitable situation. Nope. You have sponsorship and a check and you're ready to pay. And this is the way to get to the most people talking about it at once.
Yes. And I've been working with a bunch of the bigger teams for the last couple of weeks because I've actually had a similar situation happen to me in Sonoma. I literally got the sponsor to sponsor me the week before, like Friday at midnight. I got the text that there was enough money for me to go to Sonoma, but I exhausted. I probably walked 3 miles inside my house, just walking in a circle on the phone for 3 days, trying to figure out how I was going to make this work. And unfortunately, everyone was in Denver. The people that I kept calling, they said that it wouldn't work because they'd have to leave Sunday to get to Sonoma on time on Wednesday. And it was tough. And so I had to call the sponsor back and be like, look, I tried, but there was no way for me to physically get there with a week's notice, especially all the way across the country. Like it would have been a 4,000 mile round trip just for us to go back and forth. So it was tough. And now I'm getting presented the same issue in Dallas, but at least now I have a couple of weeks, couple of months to, really make this work for me. But I've been talking to the big teams. I've literally asked them, I'm like, look, I will bring a crew. I have the money. Can I please borrow your second backup car that's sitting in the trailer? We can just make one run a day. Like I don't have to do too much. I have to be there and I have to be on the NHRA on Fox broadcast with a Top Fuel car.
This is big. No, this is good. This is good. We're doing this. We have time. There's still some lead time for this.
Yes. And believe me, I've called so many people that I know that have a Top Fuel car. One, they're either going to Dallas because actually a good majority of other Top Fuel cars are based in Texas. And of course, they all want to run in Dallas because it's their home race. I totally get it. I am not mad, but believe me, I just keep sending out that text message like, just in case, like if I could persuade you for me to jump in the car, I would love to. But I've also am not opposed to an A fuel car. I've even sent out the text to a bunch of my buddies in the alcohol ranks, like, hey, is there any way that I could run your car? Whatever it may be. And so far, all of my little text messages are out there in the world. I'm hoping something gets back to me.
Well, now it's public. No, listen. So the behind the scenes stuff is good, but what I think is that everybody wants to help drag racing. We all know this, and everyone was working really hard to push and grow this thing. And I think everybody agrees that your progress has been positive and your desire is tremendous. And now you're in a spot, right? Like you're in this transitionary spot. You're working on new car, new chassis. It's not just a matter of, hey, I'm looking for a ride for my own fun. This is to keep that momentum going, to keep a sponsor obligation correct. This is a desperate, like, you got to help me, man. One of those moments where racers all tend to rally around each other. We've said it all the time. Like, they might hate each other on the racetrack, but if they're in a pickle, in a fix, they step up. And so that's where we are right now. But Vegas and Pomona, like you said, you already have something. Is that going to be with your own car or a different car? Or how's that going to work? Like, where does this fit in this one-off deal?
So it would be in a different car. And that car is actually going to Dallas, like I said, with another driver. So we just had a little miscommunication on what we were supposed to be doing. I was supposed to drive the one car for the 3 races, but now the situation has changed. And now I for sure going to Vegas and Pomona because the other driver does not want to go there. But it just, when I got the call a couple of weeks ago that I was out for Dallas, I was like, how am I going to make this work? Because I was already out for Sonoma with the sponsor, same sponsor. And now I'm going to be out for Dallas. And I'm like, how am I going to go to them? And for 2 races in a row that they wanted to sponsor me, I actually did not have a car. And so that's why I'm trying to pull strings. I'm trying to use everything I can, all my might to get this happening. So
okay. Now here's a question. And Krista and I did not plan this. This is just, she's coming on the show. For those of you who see the artwork, I would have loved to put Krista's photograph in the artwork that we're going to talk about this. The artwork was made long before we created this plan, or a little bit beforehand. The car that you currently have, why, where's that? What's up with that? Like, why not run Grandpa's 001 car just one more time to get on TV, knowing that, you like, that's the thing, man. What? Knowing that we're not going to qualify and we have no chance to qualify, right? Like, that, my logic. It's like, hey, we're going to go down and just waste our time with a car that we know is going to run an 81 at best. And when we try to run 79, it's going to smoke the tires. Like, that just doesn't make sense.
That's the thing. And that's the whole pickle that I'm in. And, of course, Grandpa's aware of the situation and he agrees with me. My crew chief, Scott Graham, he's aware of the situation. He's like, I just would hate for you to take all this down there and for me to run an 85 and it's going to take a 79 to get into the show. So, right. But also, like, the time for me to go up and down that racetrack and get the seat time is over. Like, now it's time to buckle down and to actually produce the numbers that I can show that can be part of this top fuel rank. So that's honestly the biggest thing. I did take my car out 2 weekends ago in Martin, Michigan at US 131 for a match race. And that was going to be my only exception. 1, because it's not a national event. 2, I'm just putting on a show for the fans. I literally got booked in to do that. And mind you, it was awesome. The PDRA friends were cool.
Yeah, Gary Pritchett was on. Gary told us about it. It was you. It was Gary and the Nitro Ninja. It was Larry Dixon and I guess Spencer. You guys went up there. Like, what an awesome show. All our PDRA friends said they had a great time as well. It's very interesting. What a great track. That's one of the great beautiful events in drag racing. That's not like an NHRA national event. All kinds of good stuff going on there. But okay, Roscoe wants to know, what about a funny car? You're not licensed, right?
No, I'm not licensed for a funny car, but it's funny that got brought up. So my good friend Anthony DeSuro actually we're trying to make this A-Fuel funny car combination work. And so that could possibly be a backup plan. I've talked to Nunzio Valerie, who is the owner of the car. And of course, Anthony, I see him every day with Jess and Colette. But definitely a potential to do an A-Fuel funny car. Now, Paul has also said to me that, when the time comes, he will allow me to take a hit in his car. And I do want to do it. But the only reservation I have is that, 1, I don't drive a funny car. So it's a whole other mindset that you have to get into,
right?
To muster the mind power and your physical power to get down that track. 2, I don't think I have enough time for testing per se. Like, obviously I can go out there and make 3 runs, get my crossover license, which would be fine. But do I really want to, my fourth run be Q1 in Dallas in a nitro funny car?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, but okay. And so this is an interesting test. This is problem solving in the spotlight. What will she do? And I think you can earn respect. And you're the granddaughter of the Greek, but you still are in a situation of being a young driver. And if you made a bad decision or a dumb decision, people would hold it against you. You don't get a pass for being related to the Greek. And so, what can you do? Right? I don't think that would be a smart move either. I don't think that would be a smart move either. So let's just see what materializes. It's out there now. And I'm sure, you're going to be out there on social, and all of our listeners and most of the people that listen to the podcast, crew people, team owners, they're all out there on the WFO universe, listening for this next week on their way to Brainerd, all of that stuff. Let's see what materializes. But what do you want them to just call you, text you if someone has an idea, a concept that like, let's run this by you. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do that. I can think of a couple of cars that are out there that are not active, that maybe they would want, like I would believe that would be hero status, right? Like be a hero, help Krista do this. And, the Godfather rules apply, right? Like someday, and this day may never come, they will call upon you to do a service for them, right? Like that's how it works.
Yes, exactly. And like you said, it just the newsworthy of this story of whoever it may be that wants to come in and help me. Obviously I'll use all my power to push it out into the world. And that's it's going to be good, whatever it's going to do. I just got to get to the doing part.
Right. Well, but that's the thing. It's like Stampede of Speed, big event already. This is going to be a big story, and I can't promise anybody covers anything except for me, but I would definitely be covering it. I know I can speak for the NHRA social department that if a big team with a spare car was to step up and save the day here for Krista and shepherd a young driver's journey with her sponsor that she's worked so hard for, and fill this void, that is attention worthy. That's attention worthy, and it also proves the point. But listen, I don't want to try to guilt anybody into doing it either. Right? Like,
That's the problem. I've tried the guilting part too, and it wasn't working. So
guilt doesn't work. No, people got to want to do it, and they do, and they will. Like guilt doesn't work. You save the guilt for other things. But okay, that's it's very exciting. I think the WFO universe knows that Krista Baldwin has got a sponsor. She's got a check. You're not expecting this as charity. You're willing to, pay. I'm sure you don't have like endless, unlimited resources, but the right fair money to get this car on track. And I would hope that everybody out there in the universe, WFO universe, of course, will share this show, will tell their friends, word of mouth, crew members, team owners, crew chiefs, anybody that wants to be helpful. It is tough that it's in the middle of the countdown, and the championship teams are like their bandwidth is going to be spent upon trying to win the championship. And that's why like backup cars are so vital. If this was happening like race 4, I'm sure you'd be getting a different response than right in the middle of the championship, because like think about Steve Torrence a couple of years ago and the lesson they learned right there at Dallas about having a backup car that's absolutely ready to race the next round. We're in a different universe now than we were a few years ago.
Yes. And that's, believe me, I know the challenge of everything around this race. I understand that, it's in the middle of the countdown. I understand that it'll create more work for the guys back at home. I understand, all the things that are happening with this race. But like you said, it is the Stampede of Speed. It is one of our bigger races of the whole year. And I have serious FOMO of missing out.
Yeah.
So
fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And as good as you are on NHRA social media, it's just not the same as when you're out there racing.
It is not. Believe me, I love watching Paul and the McLeod team take that funny car, especially this weekend, get past first round. But man, it just makes me so anxious up there. Like I just want to be in that car so bad. And knowing that, I have 2/3 of the issue like ready to go, and I'm just missing that 1/3 of the puzzle that I got to go and find it. And but then again, on the flip side, as Grandpa says, you have another 65 years to do this. And I'm like, you were right, Grandpa, but I want to do it now.
Right. No, both are true. Let's see how it goes. Like, let's see what happens. I'm not promising that the WFO universe and this one interview will save the day, but maybe it will save the day. Maybe someone will emerge as the knight in shining armor to bridge the gap with this one Stampede of Speed appearance and enable you to continue your growth and development as a driver, but also become more competitive. And I think it will be great. So let's just see. Let's break, and they can get you where and how? Through your social media, through email. What's your preferred method of contact for that hopeful knight in shining armor that can solve this problem for you?
Any way will work. I obviously, you guys know I'm super active on social media, so if you guys shoot me a message there, I will get it. If you shoot me an email, krista.baldwin@mcleodracing.com. If you shoot me a text message, which if you have my number, you have it. But I have I'll be scouring my phone all the time, and hopefully I see it. So
exactly. Well, and that's it. Let's see where it goes. Krista, thank you very much. The thing that means, all right, that we, as in me and the audience, thrive on this kind of stuff. Like, this is exactly what we love to do. The always a champion thing with them Halleck brothers, when we put them over the top, if that in fact happened, was a big deal. I would love to be a part of hopefully solving this problem and finding a car for you for the Stampede of Speed. It's a great Stampede of Speed story already. Maybe you could win that Never Rest award, and there's just a lot of side stuff that will come of it. But let's not oversell the deal. Let's see what happens. Yes. And maybe someone will emerge, an opportunity will emerge. And I wish you luck, and I hope we can be of help. And thank you for thinking of us to put it out there. And let's keep the story hot over the next couple of weeks as things happen.
Absolutely. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot all over my social media.
There you go. All right, Krista, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
There she goes. Krista Baldwin with us here on WFO Radio. All right. I think that's interesting. So what did I take out of that? Okay. There are no cars to be found. The sport of drag racing, and Top Fuel in particular, is surging forward. People are buying. I got into an argument with Jason Galvin the other day. He's like, you can't even buy a race trailer for 2.5 years. And I'm like, that's dumb. And he's like, why is it dumb? I was like, if any one company owns the market so much that there's a 2.5 year waiting list, someone else should start a second company. Like, there's not enough people doing that business if there's a 2.5 year waiting list. Is that where drag racing is? Is that what's happening in the sport of NHRA drag racing? That there is such a surge of growth that no one can buy anything, chassis, cars, trailers, parts, pieces. There's so many people. You can't find a crew chief. You can't find crew members because everybody's working and everybody's buying and everybody's out there like James Brown and Living in America. Everybody's working overtime. Is that what's happening in NHRA drag racing? I don't know. Maybe it's the Justin Ashley effect. I don't know. Here he is. Justin Ashley, 6 wins, brings in Phillips Connect a couple of years ago, surging forward with 6 wins, a career year, eyes of the world on NHRA drag racing. You're not going to take credit for all that, are you, Justin?
I'm not going to take credit for any of it, Joe, but I am going to take credit for being here with you on WFO, one of my favorite places to be.
No, we appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you. You're a regular. This is one of those things that happens. I remember when I was on XM, one year we had a deal with at the time Camping World Truck Series winners, and it was a year that Todd Bodine, I don't know if you know Todd, but I'm probably heard of Todd Bodine. He won like every race, and so he's on all the time, like every time he's on Todd Bodine, and so it became remember Judge Justin. Hopefully someone will have something for you to judge this time. right? For a question or problem for Judge Justin, put it up there in the chat section. But 6 race wins, Justin, that's 10 all time. There was an incredible graphic on the TV show comparing you to the greats and the race to 10 wins. I think Cruiser was the only person who had you beat to 10 wins. What is this like from inside the pit to be able to go out there and rattle these victories off?
It's so much fun, Joe. It really is. The competition is so tough, and you just got to enjoy the ride while it lasts. It really is special. The team's been doing such a great job, and I think when you look at these 6 races, each race presented its own challenges, which is what makes winning unique. It's what makes winning such a difficult task, and it's what makes it so hard to accomplish. But it's so rewarding going up against just some of the best drivers, some of the best teams in the world. And what's great about it is that really is a group effort on and off the racetrack, from everybody from Phillips Connect and Toyota to Mike Green, Tommy DeLago, Dustin Davidson, all the guys that go up and down the list, from changing blowers to varying weather conditions to rainouts and racing in different locations to everything in between. We've been able to find success. So that really started in the off season for us, making a lot of changes and being proactive. And, so far so good this year.
Yeah, it's obvious. Let's talk about the run. I just want to get it out there. Buddy Hall out there supporting Krista Baldwin and her cause. Thank you, buddy. And thank you for the Powerade or the Gatorade, because he saved my bacon. You had an experience a couple of years ago with the heat. And I definitely had a couple of moments out there where I was feeling a little like I was beginning to tip over the edge. Buddy saved me with a Gatorade, which was great. But that was tough stuff. Before you came on, I mentioned with Krista, like thinking about you and Brittany getting ready for that final round after that day, and you've got to be at your best. You're about to go 330 miles an hour, but you've got to beat the driver in the other lane. You've got to be at your best when you're probably physically at your worst. And you were both great. One of the best single races we've seen all year long. How did you handle dealing with the heat and the just torrent nature of that day?
Yeah, it was tough. It was hot out there Friday and Saturday, and you thought, okay, the rain was probably going to break the heat on Sunday, which it did. But what it didn't do is break the actual heat index or humidity. I mean, it was humid out there, especially all day on Sunday. And with the quick turnarounds, it was kind of tough. So, I think I and the whole team, really, we just tried to take care of ourselves the best that we could. Lots of water, lots of electrolytes, and, some sugar, some foods in between to make sure that we stayed at peak energy, at least for as long as we could. So going into that final round, you're a little bit tired, but, Brittany will say the same thing. We're happy to be tired and happy to work overtime like that on a Sunday night. And then you kind of pull up under the tower. And this was a little bit different because Top Fuel ran their finals first. So it'll be the first pair down the racetrack for the finals, the last race ever at Topeka, under the lights with fans still in attendance who hung out throughout the day. That was definitely an added motivating factor that made our jobs that much easier. And just a really, really good drag race and a great way to close out Top Fuel at Heartland Motorsports Park.
Amazing. No, it really was. That was, there are emotional moments in our sport. Most of them happen right on the starting line in the top end, but walking out of there after all those fans, so many just hung tough. That was like a 14-hour day or whatever it was. We were telling everybody, get here early. And they did. And we, trudged around in the rain for a little bit, but we finally got a window and we got it in. You qualified 7th. You had to run Josh Hart. Josh Hart, so tough. You guys have battled for a bit. What's up with Josh Hart? You're 33. Not enough to leave first. This guy was 13. He's had a 10. He got Leah earlier this year with a 20. Like Josh is leaving very well. He's not consistent 30s like you, but he's able to pop out these incredible reaction times. And I'm sure you saw the front of that R&L Carriers machine for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, Josh is doing a great job. Ron Douglas is a smart guy. He's been there a long time. And I raced Josh back in the alcohol days. I remember when he had Advanced Auto Parts on his car and we were racing against each other in alcohol. And now it's cool to be racing against him in Top Fuel. But him and I both are under the Warner Communications banner as well. And I've gotten to know Josh as a friend. He's doing a great job driving. He's obviously got something working for him on the starting line. So happy for him, happy that he's driving well. Definitely did a great job first round, getting everything he could out of that tree and got the starting line advantage. But, Mike Green and Tommy DeLago being the second pair down the racetrack, totally different weather conditions, being able to go that fast, run, I think at the time, what was going to be low ET in the meet was really something special. So I knew going into it, what a great job Josh had been doing. He'd been mowing down the tree really since Sonoma the week before. So we just did our very best to stay focused on ourselves, stay focused in our own lane, and got the car to go A to B in tricky conditions and got the win.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And you go to the second round where you got to go up against Leah. Leah's 54 with a 79, and just it wasn't enough. 35, and your lights 33, 35, 39, 34. It's not just that they're quick, but they're a very tight grouping. And I talked to Mike on the starting line about that, and he says it empowers him because he knows all he's got to do, generally speaking, of course, not every time, everything doesn't happen every time, but generally speaking, we just got to run as good as the car next to us, and we've got a better chance to win because of those low 30 reaction times. And we certainly saw it on that run.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Good reaction times are one thing, but the hardest thing, Joe, is to group them together. I think it starts with the approach. It starts with trying to do the same thing each and every time. I know it's boring. It's not exciting. It's kind of the same cliche answer, but it's the truth. And for me personally, that's what works. It's a team effort. Reaction times are the statistics, and everyone wants to see the stats. That's what stands out, but it's about doing the burnout the right way, backing up, staging the same, and going down the racetrack and keeping the car as straight as you can, which, these are all things that make great drivers. And these are all things that I'm working on actively, learning, growing, trying to continue to get better as a driver. And Mike Green and Tommy DeLago have been great in helping me to do that and kind of helping me to expand my arsenal and continue to learn and continue to grow. But, the same goes for me. If it gives Mike confidence, it gives Tommy confidence, it also gives me confidence knowing that I have a great race car. More times than not, our car's been able to go up and down the racetrack and do it really fast and run really well. So the peace of mind that gives me as a driver is fantastic, knowing that no matter what happens, we're going to have a safe, fast race car that's put together the right way and eliminate as many variables as we can because of the great job that our entire team's been doing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Got a lot of people saying what's up out there. Pickle Rick says he liked the James Brown reference, of course. Brian says he loved your lights out there. Just got some general congratulations. Lauren saying congratulations on the win. And that's that final race here. Blake saying congratulations on winning your first win at Topeka. Good luck in Brainerd, of course. But the final, right? We're not sure about that. Like, hopefully it's not the final win or final race at Topeka because that place is it's just such a huge track, but maybe it could save it. But for now, the final.
Is this like a Judge Justin moment? Will this be the final race in Topeka? Judge Justin declares. We're going to need a jury for that one because I don't think anybody knows.
Nobody knows.
I hope it's not, Joe, I don't know. We Arizona, right? I thought it was in Arizona too. And now it looks like that's a possibility. So I certainly hope that it's not the last race there. We have this new track closer to Kansas City. So I hate seeing the tracks go away. We all do. But I do think there are plenty of tracks out there, including new ones that are coming into the sport of NHRA that'll help us kind of fill in that gap. So like you, Joe, we're taking a wait and see approach.
All right. Nothing in the chat section just yet, but now you have your tag ending.
Yes.
Judge Justin declares.
Right.
That was really good. And like we're building here, we're building something. It's impromptu. It's like improv comedy. Yeah. Judge Justin is going to be a real bit at some point. We're going to
ask you a question, Joe.
Yes.
So if I'm, like when I know you're a Yankees fan, right? So you watch a baseball game and there's a home plate umpire. And if the batter, maybe he goes to swing and it's kind of like a half swing. Did he go or did he not? He turns to either the third base or the first base ump and says, hey, what do you think? And they make the call. So my question to you is this a situation or depending on the question, if I don't know the answer, I can toss it from Judge Justin to Judge Joe on behalf of WFO, and you can make the decision.
Well, I will do whatever it takes to keep the show progressing forward in an entertaining and fun way. So absolutely, 100%. I will bail you out if it's a difficult question.
Thank you.
Regardless. Poor Todd Bodine back in the day, he was given love, looks like Love with Todd, so you got an easy one with Judge Justin. But speaking of Flying H Motorsports Park, I want to mention this to you and everybody out there. I was invited for a behind the scenes tour of the facility. I shot an interview. I'm sure you know, Justin, that Kurt Johnson, who is the Total Venue Concepts, I believe is his company's name. He does traction. He builds machines. He consults on racetracks, and he's also the Tony Stewart track specialist. Kurt has been around. He worked for NHRA for many years, but he is the guy that's building the track, laying it out and organizing everything. So he invited me out there for a behind the scenes tour, which I shot video and interviews. And, he's pointing at gravel and he's like, over here, over there, over here, over there. And he paints the picture for us on the video. I'm going to be releasing the video on the WFO Radio YouTube channel for everyone to see. I think it's about 20 minutes of just like, this is where the top eliminator club is going to be. This is where the tower is going to be. This is the gradient. This is the staging lanes. These are the pit areas. This is how the flow is going to work. It's very, very interesting, guys. And we're going to be releasing that on the WFO Radio YouTube channel with a premiere and a standalone video. So be ready to watch that. You'll see, like, Mark Rabillas took some from the air photographs of it and got like 520 shares of the photo. This is going to be the on the ground supplement to Mark's work. And that's the thing, Justin. I'm super excited about going there. The other side of Kansas City.
It is exciting because we don't know what we don't know. It's a new place. It's fun. It's exciting. It's new. It's fast. It's like you said, you got the tour, you were behind the scenes. This is the kind of things that WFO gets to do. But how exciting is it to be able to, we've had this normal schedule. We go to all these venues each year and each one's better than the next, but to have something new, something exciting, it's a change, and change is good. We're all moving forward in the right direction as a sport. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to go there, to visit, to race at a new venue. You got the tour of the facility, and from a team perspective, we're going to be trying to understand the facility, looking at the track surface, and trying to make the right calls, everything from the 60 foot, obviously through 1,000 foot, what the starting line looks like, what the turnoff looks like. So it's all going to be new. It's going to take some adjusting to for everybody, but I have a sneaky suspicion, since it will be the first race, if there's only one first race there, that the car counts are going to be really high for that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the top eliminator club, and they've got a lot of slick elements that they're going to put into this track. And so it's going to be very, very cool. You and Antron semifinals, back and forth to the race, right? We've been seeing this a lot. You and Antron, it makes perfect sense. He's running well. You're running well. You guys are teammates. You guys, are great friends. There's the family relationship that hopefully everybody has figured out by now, that Antron drove for your dad, and Brian and Brad and Mark and all that whole team was together. Your dad put that team together, and then it kind of spun off in a different direction. And now you guys are back. Like, that's a great kind of coming home story. And you guys are racing a lot because you're both good, but man, 39 on Antron. He's 59. He outruns you, but he couldn't get around you because of the reaction time. And that's when I spoke with Mike. That's when I said, like, man, because it was easy to tell what the lights were because the scoreboard told me.
Right. Yeah. Everyone hears me say it. Antron's family, Brian, Mark, Brad, their family over there, absolutely love that team. And he's taught me so much. So he's all I could ask for a brother from a teammate. If we do race each other, we prefer that it's in the finals, but listen, we'll take the semifinals. Is a good points weekend, obviously, for him and really for both of us. So just a good drag race. He ran low ET the meet. We put a new blower on the car. We had a blower that we felt really comfortable with. And then after round 2, we had to make a switch. And it was going to be tough. It was going to be tough on the crew chiefs to make the right calls. And obviously they did. To be able to run a 72 there with the different blower on the car and make the right power adjustments, really spoke volumes of the team, because I didn't really know what to expect. And obviously they came through, and that's why I have so much confidence in this team. And look, we understand that these are close races. Sometimes they're going to go in our favor. Sometimes they're not. It's been a great year. We've been very blessed, but there's going to be these highs. There's going to be those lows. So we just need to try and continue to stay linear, whether it's after a round like that or whether it's after an entire race. So great race, awesome race for the fans, fun, exciting, love competing against Antron. It feels like it brings out the best in his team, brings out the best in our entire Phillips Connect team. And but after that, it was shifting our focus immediately to the finals.
Yeah, Brittany makes her first final, Grubnick, and the weather was like coming to him. It felt like the weather was just changing rapidly. It's becoming late afternoon. It's becoming early evening, dusk, and it got cool, right? It was refreshing. I mean, not cold, but cooler. And Mike Green and Tommy, I'm sure the change, you're going back to notes from many different racetracks over the course of the day to figure out what it's going to run. You got Grubnick over there, and I feel like a lot of people thought like, oh man, David Grubnick, Brittany got through Clay, Brittany got there through Steve, Brittany got there through Langdon coming out of the number 8 spot. So she's having a great day over there. She's a reigning champ. She wants to get one on the board. This was a clash of titans final round. Last year's number 1, you guys battled for the championship. You're number 1 this year. You're battling for the championship again. And here we've got a real noteworthy matchup in the final round at Kansas that I think will be memorable. Just kind of tell us what you can about the prep, the methodology, and the thoughts that went into setting up for that, what would ultimately be 70 with a 2 that won the race.
Yeah, so this was unique because Brittany and I were both, if I remember correctly, at the top end around the same time after the semifinals. And it almost looked, we were there with Amanda, and it almost looked like a tornado was coming through. Like, that's how bad the weather was. So after the semifinals, I already kind of made an assumption in my head. If we run this thing, it'd be great, but let's start to almost pack up and get ready for Brainerd because we're at the finals and no way we're finishing this now. We're going to have to finish it in Brainerd. And then all of a sudden I got back to my pit, and like 10 minutes later, all that was gone and the weather looked like it was fine. It was just overcast and it was going to be fast. So we didn't really know when we were going to run the finals. I don't remember the exact, maybe it was like 7:10. They gave us a time, but it was more like, okay, here's your time, but whenever you're ready, get up here so we can run this thing and make sure that we get it in. So kudos to NHRA, by the way, in the safety safari. Unbelievable job getting that whole race in. And the track was great. So the weather changed. The clouds came out. It was overcast, which meant it was fast. So Grubby over there, obviously, is very aggressive. They know how to run really fast. They were the champions last year for a reason. Brittany drove her tail off all day long, so we knew it was going to be tough. So our approach is, listen, who's ever in the other lane, let it be. We're going to focus on our lane. We're going to focus on ourselves, run as quick and as fast as we believe that we can. And that'll be our approach. And whatever the results are, we know that we put our best forward and made whatever decisions we thought were right. And fortunately for us, it worked out that time. Again, another close race under the lights, which is just a beautiful thing. You could see the header flames. They were so pronounced really from both cars. So just another good old fashioned drag race. Heard her car. Certainly didn't know that we won until we crossed the finish line and saw that win light on our side. So a combination of excitement and relief from our team.
Yeah, and another win. And Jim Epler is there. I was able to interview him a couple of times during the course of the weekend. I don't want to overstate. Like, I would love for you. I feel like he's like the spiritual center of the team right now because the Phillips deal, his great history in drag racing, the 30-year anniversary. He's Mr. 300. There's a lot of threes. There's a lot of zeros there. It's the last race. He never really got to win because that car got burned in a fire after he went 300. People, that's part of that story. I don't know if he gets emotional. He looked like he wasn't wasted on him. He understood how significant it was, and it was unfinished business. I believe those were his terms, not mine. Unfinished business that Mr. 300 was on the wing of the car that won the final race at Topeka.
30 years later on the 30th anniversary.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was unfinished business. Hopefully we got that door closed for him. Jim is a centerpiece of our team. He's a team owner. He's the executive vice president at Phillips Connect. And he, Rob, Amber, and the entire Phillips Connect team are responsible for bringing the company into the sport of NHRA drag racing and give our team a chance to find success. It's easy for people to see how much success we're having and forget the fact that without Phillips Connect, without Phillips Industries and Rob and their team, we would never even be in this position. So Jim is there to represent the team, to represent the company, and then to be able to kind of return the favor, at least in the best way that we can, by actually closing out Topeka with the victory. That same place that he went 300 miles per hour for the first time in a funny car was really special. He was with us in the winner's circle, with us in the media center as well. And just to have his Mr. 300 on the butterflies, to have his face, on the front wing of the car and take it through the finish line and collect that Wally, really was something special. The races are great. Jim doesn't come to every race, but there's just a different level of energy, a different aura, a different vibe. When Jim is there, he's cool, calm, collected. He knows what he's doing from a driving side. He knows what he's doing from a business side. So to have a guy like him on our team is invaluable. So I'm just really glad we're all able to share in that experience together.
Absolutely. And, we talk about Phillips Connect on a regular basis here on the show. To think that he innovated that stuff. Like, that's another thing. Like, drag racer went off and invented something that's keeping people safe and on time out there on the roads. And he brought it back to drag racing and is now enabling you. Like, that Phillips sponsorship that started, I think, as a 3-race deal. Look at it now. You've got 10 wins. You've got 6 in one season. That's that's a great story for drag racing, but also just everyone involved. That's a great business story. That's like movie level stuff, but it's not over yet. Obviously, we're headed to Brainerd, headed to Minnesota. Give me your pre-race preview of the Lucas Oil Nationals.
Yeah, and you know what's cool about that, just real quick, is that a lot of this stuff Jim learned while drag racing, he applied to Phillips Connect. So they make technology that monitors the overall health of trailer fleets. And what he learned from NHRA drag racing, amongst other things, was the ease of installation and how important it was, for these products to be installed easily and quickly. So when a funny car, it can be turned around quick, but on trailers, they can be on the road making money. So a lot of what he applied in racing also applies to Phillips Connect. But yeah, I'm excited about going to Brainerd. Obviously, it's one of the more fun places to go because of the zoo. So the fans pack that place out, acres and acres of motorhomes, just packed with people out there having a good time. And then you kind of come down the return road and they're all screaming, yelling for you. So yes, love going to Brainerd. One of the most fun places that we visit on tour. The fans are passionate. They're excited. They love their drag racing. And now we're at the point in the year where it's the race before Indy. So it becomes critical to be able to collect all those qualifying points, all those mission points, all those championship points. So you position yourself the best that you can going into Indy, which is 1.5 points. So it's a great place to race, but it's so meaningful because of where it's positioned in the regular season. And everyone has data, everyone has information, everyone is hitting their stride at this very point in time. So I don't know what the car count is, whether it's high or whether it's low or somewhere in between, but it's going to be fast and it's going to be tricky and unpredictable, and anything can happen. Anyone can win a Top Fuel on any given Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You got an 83-point lead over Steve, that Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge final. He was able to claw back some of the points that you've gotten. It's going to be interesting because you're winning all these races, but he's got consistency going on. We're going to reset the points. We're going to bring back in everybody that's over 200 out of the lead. The story hasn't been written at all when we come to the championship. But you mentioned the zoo, right? Roscoe, which is the Yeti. He says the zoo isn't fun at all, right? Brainerd isn't fun. Are you a zoo guy? Like, are you going to be in the zoo? I know you're not like my opinion is that you're not like a hard partying type. You're more of a business about business on the racetrack type. But the fans love to see drivers in the zoo. Do you go out and make a lap? Or are you going to be out there at any point?
Yeah, so I'm strictly business, so I stay away from the zoo. However, what I do like to do for that reason is I do like to make a lap and observe, even for 10 or 15 minutes. It's fun. This is a culture thing. These guys love going to the zoo each and every year. So yeah, I like to kind of just make a round, even for 10 or 15 minutes, just on the golf cart and just say hello to some fans, introduce myself, thank them for taking the time to come out and just observe all the crazy, wacky, wild things that they're doing that I want nothing to do with, and then go to Applebee's and go to sleep. But it's fun to be able to sit there, honestly, and just ride around and observe it and spend some time with their fans, because NHRA is unique. The fans are what make the sport so great and so special. So it's only right that we as drivers at least spend some time with them.
I agree with that. And I think that's important. Like, who did you see in the zoo? Like, I think at the end of the weekend, the people that are in the zoo say to themselves, which drivers did I see in the zoo? Those are the cool people that were willing to come out in the zoo, and just making a lap is fine. Like, you don't have to be like Krista and pass out Jello shots from the pirate ship. But people need to see drivers in the zoo. So I think drivers should definitely. Jim Park says the zoo changed his life. It's changed my life.
He didn't say for better or for worse. He just said it changed his life.
He didn't. That's an excellent observation.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. And then, of course, you did mention the U.S. Nationals, right? Here we go. And I'm feeling it. And I know you guys have got to be feeling it too. The big one, the granddaddy of them all, 900 competitors for what feels like 900 days out there battling it out. Do you guys have anything special planned as related to Indy, the team? I know some teams are having open houses or different autograph sessions. You guys got anything related to Indy for our fans that are going to be heading that way that maybe are making a schedule of stuff that's going on?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of different things going on. I'm sure more stuff will be added to the plate. For now, I would encourage the fans. I know that we're going to be at 2 different places. We're going to be at Cruz Petragon's open house, participating in that autograph session on Thursday night. We did that last year, and it was awesome. Cruz does such a great job. There's music, there's food, drivers, and I think there was even some ultimate fighting people there on behalf of Caleb, his team manager. And then Friday morning, before we head out to the racetrack, sometime maybe let's say around noonish, we'll be there signing autographs at DSR's open house. So Cruz's open house will be Thursday. DSR will have an open house Friday morning. Myself and a few other drivers will be there as well, signing autographs. So those are the 2 places that we know will be. I'm sure there'll be some media, some fun, exciting things in addition to that surrounding the event. But we really hope and encourage all the fans to join us.
Yeah, well, let's make a point on that. You're not going to believe this, but Caleb has invited me to the open house on Thursday night at Cruz's. And I was like, yeah, I'll go hang out. He goes, no, man, I want you to tell your fans that you're going to be signing autographs as well. And I'm like, Caleb, I don't sign autographs, man. I'm the announcer. And he's like, no, man, you got an audience and they want to get to you and they want to find you. And he sent me a link to get some hero cards made.
Yes.
Crazy, right? But we're going to do it. We're going to participate. And
if you make one, I will see this behind me. There will be room if you make one and sign it to Justin.
Oh, really?
Sincerely,
that's crazy.
Joe Castello. I will be right up there, I promise.
You gave me a shout out on national television for the "It's Time to Burn Some Nitro" deal, which I really appreciate. You know, I try to get the voice really low and energetic for that moment. You were feeling it, so that was good. I am a fan as well. Justin, good luck. I'll see you in a couple of days. Brainerd, Minnesota, then the U.S. Nationals, and then obviously it's like as serious as it can be with the countdown and Stampede of Speed. Don't you get to pick like some sort of meal with the Stampede of Speed Champions Dinner again this year?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I'm going to say anyway. I'll worry about Elon later. He might get on me. But yeah, I get to pick dessert.
All right.
So I was contemplating, do I want to pick something that everybody likes? Do I want to pick something that, I don't know. Too much thought went into it. So anyway, I chose cheesecake. So my dessert of choice was cheesecake.
From anywhere in particular in New York, like New York style?
I love a New York style cheesecake. Yes, that is what I told Elon specifically. New York style cheesecake. If we're lucky, he'll put some whipped cream on there. Really good stuff.
Really good stuff. Like that is never bad. Everybody, like chocolate cake. Chocolate cake's great, but New York style cheesecake is incredible. And that's what's great about the Champions Dinner. And I know a lot of the WFO universe is going to be there. All right, Justin, thank you very much. I'll see you in a couple of days. Thank you for making the time for us.
Always. Thank you, Joe. Go WFO.
WFO, there he goes, Justin Ashley with us here on WFO Radio. Great kid, 6 race wins. He's got an 83-point lead over Steve Torrence, 223 over Brittany Force, 250 over Antron Brown. That's me looking around the back of my tripod. Now, before we go any further, because Alan Reinhart is still scheduled to join us, I might go into like tap dance mode here as we stall. Your thoughts on Justin, your thoughts on Krista, put them in the chat section. But let me tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO, because we got right into the show. Phillips Connect, of course. You heard Justin talking about it. If you've got trucks and trailers going over the road, this is an update that you need for safety, for efficiency. And as you just heard, they go in quick, but they pay for themselves by preventing. Like you got a wheel hub heating up, you got a brake problem, you got an air leak. They tell you all of these things. And why would you not want to support a drag racer who created a technology that Phillips is involved with? I think it is amazing. Phillips-connect.com. And if it's you that are interested, you can email me, joe@wforadio.com, and I'll put you together with the right people. You get a personalized introduction. Appreciate the folks at Phillips Connect. Bernie's Speed Shop, you see Josh's company right down there, and it's 100,000 square feet 100,000 square feet of just automotive heaven out there at Bernie's. It is really amazing what they have been able to do out there in Ocala, Florida at Josh Hart's. Frame off restorations. They do movie props for a lot of movies that we can't even tell you about. They sell e-bikes. They're dealerships for a lot of different things. And they are now, I guess, the home of the Gainesville Autograph Session, which I'm already planning for 2024. Go to Bernies.com or check out their social media. They've got an inventory if you're looking for an exotic, if you're looking for luxury, if you're looking for a hot rod or just cool muscle car. They've got all kinds of stuff that is for sale there on consignment. And if you have something for sale on consignment, reach out to Josh, Bernies.com, doing a great job, of course. Folks at Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Hidden Horsepower is the podcast. Would love for you to listen to it. We've got some really good stuff going on up there. Andrew Hines talking about that Suzuki engine that makes 3.6 horsepower per cubic inch. That's insane. You'll learn a lot on Hidden Horsepower, but if you just trust me, when you build an engine, or if you are an engine builder, you need to go to Total Seal because they have updated the technology drastically in the last 10 years. And those things that were working, they probably will still work, but you are losing a lot of potential horsepower and power because your rings are too thick and too fat. Simple as that. Go check them out, totalseal.com. Great job by the Total Seal guys. We started off with an FTI commercial, and it's so true. .90, Pro Stock, Pro Mod, not Pro Stock. That was an accident. Pro Mod, top dragster, top sportsman, not Pro Stock. Because it's an automatic transmission. FTIperformance.com. What they do, Jimmy Lewis, final round again, by the way. Final round, Jimmy, making sure he's still got the FTI decals on it, and he does. And where they really stands out is when you make huge power. That's why Right Trailers, Top Sportsman, and Top Dragster, you can look, and there's a lot of FTI performance transmissions and torque converters. Reach out to them. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio when you make your next choice of transmission. And then there's the folks at Foggit, Foggit, to preserve the inside of your engine from microscopic corrosion. The second you put it away, it's still warm, but inside the trailer is hot and humid. What do you think was happening in those trailers this weekend in Topeka? Your amazingly perfected cylinder hone was rusting at the microscopic level. A bead of corrosion or a bead of condensation forms a droplet and then rolls down the inside of your cylinder. And that is going to affect your ring seal. You can prevent it by fogging your engine. And all you do is you spray it down your carburetor or into your spark plug holes to pickle, for all intents and purposes, your engine. You do it every night. And that saves your engine. Not to mention, I believe, makes your racing performance more consistent because that thing fires up exactly the same way as you put it away. And they've got a lot of stuff to help with startup. So the car starts right up and you're back running again. Gary Stinnett, Steve Williams invented this product. They've got a great program for contingency at the divisional level. You should all get involved. And this works on go-karts. It works on everything. Like when I don't run my golf cart for a long time, I fog it down because I know the next time I start it up, it'll be good to go. Excellent stuff. Thanks to the folks at Foggit. And yes, there are some updates on Project Pontiac that are coming. Also, shout out to the folks at samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Call Brian Massengel. If you want to become a machinist, if you want to become a crew member on a team, they've got courses. They've got motorsport EFI tuning. They've got CNC programming, but block and cylinder head programs are really what they're great at. People who have graduated have gone on to great careers in drag racing. People who have graduated have gone on to work at SpaceX. So it's up to you. Samtech.edu. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, more about fun and learning the right mentality. You can tell that Justin Ashley has got a great mentality. And Frank Hawley has done so much for so many drivers, but what I like to promote is the Dragster Adventure. The Dragster Adventure, where you can drive a dragster and just get a little taste of what it's all about. Go to frankhawley.com, give him a call, tell him you heard about it on WFO. In fact, that's the first thing you should say to any of our sponsors, especially Marvin Rodak. 817-924-6821. He's going to be a big part of the Stampede of Speed with us as well. roasting coffee, fresh per your order. The best coffee in the world. It's got new stuff from Kenya coming around, exclusive deals at Marvin Rodak. He has relationships with some of the best farms that farm coffee all around the world. And he gets these small batches that he roasts for you. It's not like a macro coffee where hundreds of beans from all over the place, they put a logo and a label on it, and then they market their logo and their label, but coffee is coffee. This is the pure brand of whatever it is, whether it be from Kenya, the Democratic Republic of Congo, or Haitian Blue Mountain coffee, all these different coffee blends that everybody likes, or pure not blended. He also does some blending with the drag racing themes. Bang the Blower, which makes an excellent espresso, the WFO Radio Blend, which is a great way to get started on Rodak's coffee. And you can go to the website, get any of our sponsors from the WFO Radio website, but rodakscoffeeandgrills.com, and give him a call and he will give you an education. And then, of course, there's our Patreon listener club, the VIPs, the behind the scenes people that they get Monday motivation and they get hear it from Heiner, and I'm connected with them at all times. Plus, we're going to have the big meetup at the Stampede of Speed. That's right. The Patreons are meeting up at the Stampede of Speed. It's a secret society. It's a VIP backstage pass. Go to patreon.com/WFO radio. And if you sign up for the year, I send you a t-shirt and, of course, your Patreon swag, which are decals, etc. And so that is awesome. Patreon.com/WFO radio, and all this stuff you can get to from the website. Now, before I get to your comments, and we're hoping to get Reinhart. Reinhart is flying from Minneapolis to Brainerd. This guy is a genius, and he's decided to cut out the 3-hour drive. I know that people have been, like, I let down the audience sometimes. I admit. There are some things that I'm very good at, and there are some things that I'm not very good at. And knowing my own weaknesses maybe is part of my strength. I can't tell you how many race fans have come up to me at the track and said, Joe, you got any WFO stickers? And I say, no, I don't. Because I'm running around for NHRA on Fox, or get ready for the pre-race show, or on the track walk, and to load up. I have this fear of one of my stickers getting stuck to the track. That's really what it is. And they're like, who's the one who, oh, it's Joe who lost his sticker. Now it's stuck to the track, and they're out there scraping it, and it's all my fault. And I just can't risk that. So sometimes I don't have the stickers. But what we have done is solved the problem. So for all of you WFO listeners out there who want a couple of WFO stickers and you don't want to have to pay for them, you want them for free, you can send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the P.O. box that's on the website, and I will send you some stickers. But if you want it the easiest way, when you go to the track, swing by Hot Rod Randy's Horsepower headquarters and just ask for the stickers. You'll be a WFO listener, and they will give you some stickers. I've loaded them up with stickers. You just go by Hot Rod Randy's, and you're only going to get 2. Like, hey, can I have 50 stickers? No, you cannot. You can't have 50. You can have 2 WFO stickers. Now, who do you go? Keelan is there, and Tamra is there.
Hey guys, come on by to Hot Rod Randy's. Get your WFO gear. Come on by.
That we have created a system now. So I will be able to say to people like, hey, Joe, you got some stickers? Go by Hot Rod Randy's. And from what I understand, and we're working on this, if you go by and ask for the decals, you might get a discount on the WFO Radio t-shirt because you're there. And so I feel like we have solved a problem. We have solved the problem for the WFO universe. A lot of people have been asking about Project Pontiac. And this is something that we've been working on for a long time. And Gary Stinnett doing the engine for Project Pontiac. We are trying very hard to get back on the racetrack. It is something that I have been, I ran a bracket car years ago. I have always wanted to run NHRA Super Street, trying to get this race car back on the track. And I got to say, the ball is moving. And a lot of people like Total Seal Piston Rings, very helpful, of course. And Foggett, very helpful, of course. But look at this. My great friend, Rick Daddy McDonough, top sportsman racer, has installed, this was the problem. This is why we broke the block, the motor plate and the mid plate. which is hopefully going to solve our problem. We're going to do some more updates to the engine bay. But for those of you who are interested in following our Project Pontiac story, we're going to put it out there on the hashtag and get this thing NHRA Super Street ready. Now, I've thought about it, like maybe I should just put it back on the street and make it a street car. Maybe I should, what should I do? And the answer is no. I am an NHRA. I would like to say I'm a sportsman racer and a bracket racer at my core. That's what I love to do. I'm pretty good at it. I think I'm pretty good at it. I was way back in the day, 100 years ago. I could never run Super Street. And they never ran Super Street at the Gator Nationals. And I want to show everybody out there that's got maybe a half chassis race car sitting in their garage that they can easily, relatively, go out there and compete for an NHRA Wally. And so a lot of people are getting on board to try to help us with this build. And it's interesting how it's all turning out. And we're going to have some stories and we're going to put it out there and photos and videos and social media. But, when the door rusted off the back of our trailer, it became real to me. All right. So no Reinhardt. This has all been stalling for Reinhardt. Let's get your comments. Feels like my life, right? Stalling for Reinhardt. Let's see what everybody has to say. Okay. Roscoe wants one. Everybody wants one. And I want some too. There you go. I love it. Go by Hot Rod Randy's and get the details. Get the deets, right? Get the deets. Monica says I got a lot of fans out there. I like it, but I'm so aggravated, guys. I'll share with you as we're waiting for Reinhardt. Let's text Reinhardt together, right? He's not there yet. He's going to be there soon, but he's not there yet. And I am willing to wait for Alan Reinhardt. He's going to get us as soon as he's off the air. But these social media algorithms are very annoying. This video that we're going to put out, Flying H Motorsports Park, on our YouTube channel, WFO Radio TV. I ask you to go subscribe. We're going to set it up to do one of those premieres, and I'm going to social media the S out of it. And everybody, I think, wants to see the behind the scenes of this track. They want to see the vision, and you can see it, even though it's all just compacted gravel right now. And so please help us by pushing that out there, and that will help the YouTube channel and help us to defeat the algorithm. Simple as that. Blake says he loves cheesecake. I love cheesecake too. Cruz will be stopping off in Columbia Heights, Minneapolis on Thursday at the Wagaman Brothers, FYI, 11-1. I'll be double checking that. Everybody double check all appearances that are announced on here, but that's great. That's great. Thoughts? Justin and team are a class act. I got some thoughts about Justin that I'm going to share in a minute. Like, to compare anybody to Jeff Gordon, you had Earnhardt, you had Waltrip, you had Yarborough, you had these amazing characters, right? Like, if there's a knock on Justin, people say like, oh, he's very polished, and not everybody loves polished. I love polished, but let's take a second to think about, like, Earnhardt was not polished and Waltrip was not polished, and those guys were not polished. They were these old school America characters, and NASCAR was this big and the fans loved it. And then but corporate America and mainstream TV and the average person, my friend Slash, didn't really love it. Maybe they didn't get the characters, or those characters weren't in their wheelhouse. But Jeff Gordon showed up, and he was polished and extremely corporate friendly and a very smooth communicator. And he ended up hosting Saturday Night Live. And the people who liked the old school characters didn't like Jeff Gordon. They didn't like him for all of those things. And I see a lot of parallels to Justin, like people want to see, like, oh man, he's just so polished. But I think that Justin Ashley has what it takes to maybe pop our sport to another level. You don't have to root for him. you could root against him. But I don't know why you would, because he knows what it takes to be successful. And it's not a fight, it's a drag race. You don't necessarily have to amp yourself up. He's a level-headed kid who knows how to get it done on the racetrack. And isn't that what really matters? That reaction time grouping that we talked a little bit about within just a couple of thou. That was very, very amazing. Let's see. Rust keeps my quarter, eighth rings lively on my polish boards. And I only change oil half as often. I top it off every pass, but I don't have to crawl underneath and change it. Right. Exactly. That's a whole bunch. And you can even see the emoji. That's some old school thinking right there. But that's how a lot of them do it. Hero cards for Patreons. Yeah, I got to send them out. Come by. Yes. Steve Brenwald of Brenwald Media is creating the Joe Castello WFO Radio hero cards that Caleb has invited me to do. I was so impressed, and thank you, Caleb. You know, as a drag race announcer, I know my place. I'm not the show. My job is to facilitate the show. My job is to make other people into heroes and icons. And I try my best at it. But he invited me to come out there and sign an autograph for 2 as well. So I'm going to go. And I'm sure there'll be people that try to have me removed, but it'll be fun as I get thrown out the window, like in Hooper. Bobby Bender. What's up, Bob? Great show. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you in Topeka. I wish I knew who this was. But yeah, I met a lot of race fans out in Topeka. We were great. I'll be getting some stickers for show. You got to show up as the Yeti, though. I will tell them not to give you the stickers. And remember, the discount on the T-shirt, Randy Lynn told me. So I'm going to get that locked down. She's like, yeah, we could do a discount on the T-shirt if you ask for the stickers. I'm like, Randy Lynn, you sure? And she's like, yes. Jim Parks. DHR stickers have found their way to some interesting spots. I would love, Parks, I love seeing those DHR stickers all over the place. I know there's obviously the history with DHR. I would love for WFO to achieve that level at some point. Eric, WFO in the zoo doesn't get much better than this. I'll be out in the zoo. We got some first timers that'll be there. I feel obligated. Alan Reinhart brought me out there the first time and changed my world. Like, whoa, this is different. So we'll see. Was brutally hot this weekend in Topeka. I was really feeling it on Friday. I had a tough go of it. Again, Buddy Hull with the Gatorade saved the day because I was pounding the water, but I wasn't catching up. And I had the Gatorade and I caught up and it made a big difference. Apparently that stuff works. Football season is next month, says Jimmy Ryan. Yeah, absolutely. Go Dolphins. This is it, baby. We're talking Super Bowl. Did you talk them into putting covered grandstands? What, at Flying H Motorsports Park? Did I? Listen, this guy invites me for a tour of track that he's designing. Do you really think I'm the kind of person that would interject my own concept and desire for a covered grandstand? Yes, of course I did. Of course I did. That's it. Covered grandstand. I did not add another thing that I think is important, which I'll pile on. But the video will be coming out, guys. I need everybody to see the video. Justin is a well-spoken guy. That's him. The thing about Justin is never faking it. So, do you want someone that's real? Yes? Well, that's Justin. That's him. The highs are not too high. The lows are not too low. He keeps it all in perspective. He's a level-headed kid, wise beyond his years. So, people dislike a lot of different things. But people really dislike fake people that are putting on an act. That ain't Justin. That's how he could easily try to be a fake person. Like, man, I'm going to, that's not him. So I think that's pretty cool. I think the point of it being polished is you need a polished driver and a non-polished driver to create rivalries. Yeah, maybe so. Well, exactly. And I think that's why you got Justin polished. You got Steve Torrence. Don't care. I was going to say, don't give an F, right? Like Steve Torrence, like perfect. Brittany, polished. Like Brittany is not like a rabble rouser. Brittany is focused on driving. We've got a great mix in drag racing. And so maybe to this guy's point, maybe Steve Torrence can play the role of a Dale Earnhardt. And don't get mad, Earnhardt fans. Think about it. 4 championships in a row, the cowboy style. And then you got Justin, the New York business person, polished as can be, comes in with his polished ways. There are similarities. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Definitely. What is this? Blake. Joe, in case Alan joins you, I have a question about why top alcohol funny cars have to raise the body or don't have to raise the body. Why don't top of, well, it's just not all kinds of fuel system adjustments. Thanks, Joe. But that's the story of my life. Alan is on a flight. He's trying to get into, he's avoiding the 3-hour drive. Uh-oh, here we go. Earnhardt was ignorant to the game of NASCAR, but he was a sponge. He aspired to be polished, but was viewed as down home. It's not just nationally or any other's fault to become on the scene. Real was the end of my comment. Right. I think we're on the same page with that. But it's not that he was ignorant to the game. It's just that the game was changing while he was in the middle of the game. And that's what everybody needs to understand. The game is always changing. Jason Line told me a great piece of wisdom, which he is full of wisdom. Man, I wish we could see some Jason Line sometime soon. That would be wonderful. We are headed to Minnesota. Wouldn't that be cool? But at some point, I'm going to paraphrase what he said. Maybe he borrowed it from someone else. At some point, all your life's experience begins to work against you. And that tells me that you just need to be able to adapt to new realities. And so the game is always changing while you're in the game. Can you adapt to the new game? And I think Dale Earnhardt did adapt to the new game. He was on the cutting edge with all the action collectibles and the business, with his business partner with Jeff Gordon, all that stuff. The whole collectibles business was pretty much driven forward by those guys. And so they adjusted to the new game as it changed. But what you can't do is change your personality from one year to the next. You can't be an actor out there. People will pick it up. You see that everywhere. People don't like fake people because they just are suspicious. What's that really like? You know? Now, I put on a different deal when I'm at the track because I have to. Otherwise, I'll drop the F-bomb every 2 seconds. And I can't do that. That's what gets you fired. Fired. Terry, very respectful young man. Want polish, but we need drama. I think we have the drama. There was plenty of drama out there this weekend. There all kinds of drama. Pro stock, there was drama. There was Michael Heiner and Eddie Granacci yelling at each other back and forth across the racetrack. There's plenty. You got Erica versus Dallas. You got Erica versus Greg. Did anybody see the Elite Motorsports versus KB Titan practice tree battle? Did you guys see that? Man, the behind the scenes stories of that was incredible. We are waiting Alan Reinhardt, by the way. We're hoping that we get Alan Reinhardt on. Such a great story. Everybody just walking the pits. Galvin texts me that he's in a practice tree battle at KB. I signaled Nikki. We rushed over there. We organized the on-air practice tree Elite versus KB Titan battle. We filmed it on the spot live. That was like live sport as best as we could. Poor Jacob, the editor, was sent to rush edit the deal to get it on the air before the event was over. Because once the event was over, there would have been no time to post it and it would have been irrelevant. It's up on the NHRA's YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Because a lot of people say that NHRA doesn't try to create new things and cover new things and do something a little different that's out of the ordinary. You know, Lyle, a good friend, says that we didn't go out and with a microphone and talk to people on the Shake and Bake show with Brian Lones. Why don't they go out there with a microphone and just talk to people? And I've been doing that every year for 10 years. And I'm trying to think don't people watch my stuff? I'm out there Alex Laughlin is in the staging lanes. I put a mic in his face and he says the stuff about JR and Sean that spools out of control. That was me going out and running. Nobody sees it. The hard work that's happening, all the creativity, all the new stuff, the new flow, the fresh dope. No, I guess not. They're not watching NHRA. No, why not? Because they're racing. Oh, yeah. Racer's going to race. Maybe they don't go back and watch every social media bit that happened. Well, go check out some of the stuff we've done. Adapt and overcome, says John. I agree. Improvise, adapt, overcome, I believe. It's not your fault if you're polisher before you become famous. Well, exactly. Or that's just your personality, right? Mentioning Jerry Tolliver, good character. I'm using fogging on my go-karting engines. Way to go, Gary. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's talk racing. Okay, Reinhardt might not happen. I've decided. I hear my little kitties. They're mewing in the background. Any other thoughts about Top Fuel I want to get out there? Looking at it, Coletta Motorsports wasn't their best race, but they're showing that was just unique conditions, such unique conditions. Justin Ashley, we pretty much talked Top Fuel. Funny car. How awesome was that final round? Bob Tasca. Tasca's at meetings at Ford this weekend. Tried to get him on. He's like presenting the Wally and all of that. For Tasca to go back-to-back at Kansas with two different teams, that's what's interesting. Last year, it was Mike Neff and John Schaefer and all those guys. Of course, those guys moved over to Tony Schumacher. And Tasca was in the weeds. Like, what a story. I'm sure everybody out there thought, he'd left for dead. No crew chiefs available. Who's he going to get? What are they going to do? That's it. And no, Todd Okahara and Aaron Brooks. And I remember hearing what people were saying at the start of the season, like, oh man, Aaron Brooks and Todd Okahara. And they've won a couple of races and they go back to back at Kansas. They run an 88 in the final. Watch out for those guys. Great win for Tasca. Hagan is 24 on the tree. Like, if I make you the bet that Hagan is going to go 24 on the tree and run 329 miles an hour, does he win? That's the bet. Future final, Hagan's 24 on the tree and runs 329 miles an hour. Did he win the race? 98 out of 100 people would say yes. Not this one. 388.5, 332, Bob Tasca. Let's see. Great to see Paul Lee having some success. I spoke with Paul. Paul's a sponsor with FTI Performance. I always go by and I check Paul. And he's been down in the dumps. It's been a very difficult deal. He's running all these, he's out there, but now they're genuinely pointing in the right direction. Why? Because John Medlin is over there assisting Jason Bunker and going through the car. And all I can say to you folks is that it's not that easy. And he was giving me some examples of things that Medlin is doing that they didn't do and they didn't think to do. And, here's one. Testing the spring rate of the throttle return springs. That's one I feel like I can share. Paul, if I wasn't supposed to share it, I'm sorry. But like measuring it. What is the spring rate? And he measures it like every run. And is alerted to the fact that the spring pressure is weakening and that it may break, which is something that tripped him up a couple of races before John Medlin came over there. Like, you just keep putting that throttle return spring on there, just keep putting it on. And then all of a sudden it's too weak and that changes everything. Like, the throttle return spring rate has to be the same, or you stomp the gas and it's going to open quicker and everything's going to happen quicker because you don't have that spring rate. That's just a tiny microcosm of the things that John Medlin is doing for Paul Lee and why he's gotten a couple of round wins and they're running in the threes and things are coming around. Super excited for Paul Lee. Super excited. The final four, JR, Todd, Matt Hagan. Great race. Hagan wins. Tasca and Height. No love lost between the two. Tasca wins. Tasca goes on to the final round. But JR, Todd, they're back. They're all the way back. Two good races back to back. That's how you tell. But it's not two good races. It's really like five good races. You're not going to win every time. But coming off the Sonoma win to go to the semifinals, yes. JR, Todd, Jono, Todd Smith, they're all the way back. That is good. Let's go to Pro Stock. Still waiting on Alan Reinhart, guys. hoping that he will jump on for a comment. You know, he's going to want to talk for 20 minutes. Dallas Glenn wins the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. How many of you guys at front of mind thought Dallas Glenn, with all his race wins and semifinal appearances, had not won a Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge? That one was not on my radar, I admit it. And he was thinking about it. It was on his mind. It was like, and he got the job done. Erica goes red in the final round. Erica going red against 00 Dallas. 00 Dallas says that shouldn't be his nickname anymore because he hasn't been 00 in ages. He says more like Dirty 30. Dirty 30 Dallas. He says his reaction time average is actually 31. So in the first round, Dallas goes up against Fernando Quadra, beats Fernando. Second round beats Camry, goes to the semifinals where he runs Erica. Erica coming out of the number 4 slot. Erica's 00, loads up 00 Dallas on a hole shot. Erica goes to the final round against Greg. Greg was the number 2 qualifier. Greg got through David Quadra. Greg got through Troy Coughlin. Greg got through Derek Kramer. 661.3 in the final with an 024 light. Greg Anderson, reaction times 43, 23, 24, 33. Watch out for Greg Anderson. He also beat Jason Galvin in the final round of the first practice tree race. Galvin got to the final round. They got snuffed by Greg. That's cool, getting beat by Greg in anything. But in the end, Erica Enders wins it. She came on WFO Radio last week. If you didn't watch that interview, you missed out. She called her shot. That's what WFO is all about. She called her shot. She came on here, and did she call her shot? You got to go back and watch, because that Erica interview is really the cornerstone. It's the keystone to what is about to happen. And that's why we saved it to right before Topeka. And Erica Enders and Elite Motorsports go out there and get the job done and win the race. Erica's 23 in the final, runs 661.7. And now, you know, you think about Dallas Glenn and Matt Hartford and Derek Kramer, and now you add Erica Enders and Troy Coughlin and Greg Anderson. What's going to happen in Pro Stock? I have no idea. All right, I'm getting ready to wind down. Reinhardt's about to miss the call. I know as soon as I play the music, I should play the music, and then Reinhardt will pop on. Let's see if it happens. This isn't the real end. That was just to see if Reinhardt will pop on. I know the way the cosmos works. Let's do more comments. Let's see. Jason Line was at Bonneville. His son, Jack, did great. Bailout test. Seems like a great kid. Jack Line is a golden child. He is a wonderful kid. I've known him since he was very little. I think, if he remembers, when all is said and done, whatever career he goes on to, his first ever on-air interview was with this guy. I think. We'll have to find out. Bill says the Practice Tree Nationals was awesome. Thank you, Bill. That was us on the fly, fleet of foot. We love you, Krista. God bless. Yeah, Krista Baldwin. Wouldn't it be great if somebody stepped up and gave her a ride for the Stampede of Speed? And we could say that WFO was the genesis of it all? Walt Walker out there. Speaking of Jason Line, a former Jason Line driven car won Comp Eliminator. Oh, very interesting. Yeah, Clark Smiley. We did those interviews. It was like 10 o'clock at night, Saturday night, you know, one of those 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. days out there in the heat. And you're tired and you can't think, at least me, you know, after 14 hours of just sweating, those interviews are just pure, like, whatever. But Clark was so great. Everybody loves Clark Smiley. Like my, you know, everybody thinks the NHRA is dying. Here's my solution. 16 car fields of Clark Smiley's car, double B altered gas on supercharged with a small block, like sounding like that. Like those are amazing. We could have different bodies. I also did hear we're going to have 4 Factory X's at the U.S. Nationals. Oh, by the way, I don't think I was supposed to tell you that, but I heard that we're locked in with at least 4, which means someone's going to win a Wally in Factory X. Don't quote me. We need Top Fuel versus Funny Car shootouts. I agree. Mix it up. Just mix it up. Mix up some things, like the visual of seeing a Top Fueler and a Funny Car next to each other side by side. Got to mix up, scramble the brain. Can't do the same thing all the time, always. You got to mix it up. That's what people, they need change. They hate it, but they need it. It doesn't always have to be great change. Just do something different. Let's try this and do it for a while and then do something different while having the same core. Jimmy Ryan, go Justin Ashley. So happy for Aaron Brooks. I'm so happy for Aaron Brooks also. Like, Aaron Brooks is kind of a quiet guy, but I love his interviews because he gives me real and vital information. And they're doing it, man. Come on. Aaron Brooks has had he's helped so many people. For those of you that don't know, Aaron Brooks helps so many people behind the scenes that you'll never know about, just for the good of drag racing. Helping people. They'll never tell you. He'll never tell you. But he's doing it. So when you make a list of the people that are really helping drag racing as a sport, you think of Bobby and Dom, Aaron Brooks, like those guys, like working, like getting off their couch and going somewhere to do something to help someone. You know, are they always compensated? I can't even say that. I don't even know. Aaron Brooks, good guy, deserves it. Rick Chavez, Bueller, Reinhardt. Yeah, come on, Reinhardt, let's go. Oh, there he is. Just got off the plane 1 minute ago. Oh my gosh, my greatest Saul job ever in history. Join us, Reinhardt. Everybody share. Reinhardt's coming on. Better have something good to say after this. I still think you got the best show on YouTube. That's only my opinion, Art. Thank you, Art. It's YouTube that doesn't want anybody to see it. You know, we started out 0 subscribers. We're now over 2,000. That's great. But, you know, when you see Stevie Fast and Lyle and they're pulling in thousands and thousands, they got thousands and thousands of subscribers. It's like, it makes me feel insignificant, you know? And after I get out from under my bed and get out of the fetal position, you know, we start again and we try to bring on some new subscribers, but we need more subscribers. Now, those guys have both won the U.S. Nationals and they're celebrity drivers, and I'm me. But we need to grow, baby. Let's do it. Woo! Well, I got this great video of Flying H Motorsports Park. That got to be good for at least a subscriber or two, right? Jimmy Ryan. It's sad when Dale Earnhardt got killed. Yes. Yes, it is. Do you hear about that since then? I was right in the middle of that. You know, I was at home, but I was up there that Thursday, and it's really a very sad day to this day. And, you know, the emotions of that day, you just bury them down deep. I was a diehard Earnhardt fan. And, you know, I don't know what to say. Those are the things that we don't decide. But look at all the change that has happened since then. Matt Hanley, did you say the interview in the lanes was with Alex or Blake and words were said about other drivers? Where can we find it? Sorry, Matt, that's on you, man. Go to NHRA. It was on NHRA TV. It was just part of our show in Sonoma, but they used it. They used it on TV. Alex relayed an old story 5 years ago. It was really cool to see Chad Green's son win. Hunter Green, amazing moment. I've got video. Alan Reinhardt's getting set up, guys. He's down there. Share the show. We got 70 people now watching. We had 100 when Krista was on there and Justin was on there. Alan is at the bar finishing his beer. We'll find out in a second. What's up with your car, Joe? Project Pontiac, catching up. Look at all these. Everyone's just, you know, helping me fill time. They love Clark Smiley's car. Alan Reinhardt is joining us now. We did it.
Hey.
We killed the downtime. What's up, AR? How was your flight?
Late, but other than that, it was good. It, you know, any flight that lands and is on its wheels and not on fire is a good one, and this one did all 3 of those, so all is well.
Okay, something we haven't talked about. You and I will talk about it first. How about Ron Capps SRX? That was something. I was saving this for you because I know it's a big deal. Ron Capps, I felt like he did us proud.
I think so too. Yeah, I hate that he ended up crashing out in the end, but or you know, tearing up the car. But you know, he led some laps. He got some cars. He certainly wasn't embarrassing at all. I think he needs to learn the art of the restart. But other than that, I think that he did very well, and I hope that he did a good enough job that either he will be invited back or another drag race will be invited to participate at some point in the future. And I think that he did.
They got their ratings were up from what I understand because of our big push in the NHRA to get all of our drag racing fans to watch. And I would think in the future they would. All right, Alan, we're going to do it a little differently. I went through the ladders. I gave the winners. I wasn't sure that you were going to make it. We spoke with Justin. Krista Baldwin
I wasn't. Okay.
And she needs a ride for the Stampede Speed. She's looking for a car. She wants to rent a car. She's got a big check. So that's how we started the show. I want to just kind of turn it over to you for Reinhart observations.
Well, I thought the racing on Sunday was incredible. I hate that Mother Nature messed with it so much because, not everybody that probably wanted to see it did, especially out the end, when it started raining again in the afternoon. I think there was a lot of us that thought we were done, including some of the fans. So, I hate that. I thought the sportsman racing was great. And, like we've always talked about so many times, when we end on Saturday night, I hate the fact that they don't get to have that moment on Sunday out in front of the fans and to tell the stories and tell everything. We did hear from all of them on the .tv show, and I'm sure that footage is out where you can find it. But overall, except for the weather, I thought it was a really good race. And I'm not 100,000% convinced that that's the last time we're ever going to race at Heartland Park. There sure seemed to be some, I don't know what the right word is, at least possibility that that we could be back, or that the track maybe will still be around. That place was supposed to be dead, 10 years ago or 9 years ago, and it came back, and we got an opportunity to go back for another number of times. The facility's always been spectacular. Even when the racetrack is hot, it acts better than most hot racetracks do. Hardcore fans in that part of the world are wonderful, so I don't know, but and I certainly don't have any inside information, but just kind of the feel you got wasn't that, everybody wanted to take their grandstand seat home with them. At least that's not the feel that I got. So I'm not quite ready to bury the place just yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the way I do it is I go into the Nitro Mall and look for the final event T-shirt. And if there isn't one, then I think there's a possibility. The Flying H Motorsports Park, though, Alan, I've got a video that we're going to drop here on WFO at some point, maybe later today on our YouTube channel, and everybody's going to watch it. Kurt Johnson giving us a tour of the place. That place is going to be great. It's going to be a national event track. It's going to be the first new one since ZMAX. So we're going to have two, hopefully, tracks within 100 miles. The schedule makers will just have to separate them by enough, and we'll have to promote the crap out of it. But I think we can do that.
Well, there's a lot of markets that we go to, or a few markets anyway, that we go to twice a year. So I don't think it's written in stone any place that we can't go to two races that are geographically fairly close together. As you said, just spread them out. I think that Topeka in May was a lot friendlier than Topeka ever was in July and August. So potentially, we could do that. Come back to Flying H, later in the year, maybe even in the countdown. I don't know. I'm not. They make those schedules a few floors above my office, if you know what I'm saying. But we've had other places where we race with tracks that are not very far apart. Maybe not that close, but we do go to markets, twice a year. So who is saying that we can't go to the Midwest twice a year? Go once in the spring and once, in the late summer or early fall. I think it could be made to happen. I just hate to see, a place that's got that much history and a town that really embraces drag racing lose that facility and lose the event. So, like I said, I'm not getting out a shovel yet.
Absolutely, totally agree. All right, final thought. I've been waiting for you to talk a little bit about this. Finally get to do it. The Fuel Tech Pro Mod Road to the Championship presented by Steinar. First race is this weekend. For people that don't realize, yes, Pro Mod Brainerd, first race of their playoff. The points have been reset, and it's going to be brutal out there. There's a lot of racers that qualify. Justin Bond has got leads the way, but Chris Thorne is just 20 back, and then 5-point increments back. Jose Gonzalez, Jason Lee, Mike Castellana, J.R. Gray, Kevin Rivenbark. There was a lot of substitutions and substitute drivers, but now it's playoff time for the first one ever. I think this is going to garner a lot of attention. I think a lot of people are going to be focused on it. What do you think we're going to see?
Yeah, I hope so. I think what we're going to see this weekend, and then 2 weeks from now in Indy, we're going to see who spent the last 2 months working and who just shoved their car over the corner, just parked the hauler someplace, locked it up, and then came back last week and opened it up. That's what I think we're going to see. I know that Justin Bond and Belushi had been out. They've been doing some match racing and doing some other stuff. So I know that they've been making some runs. I spoke to Frank Manzo when I was in Indy last week, And they've definitely been working on the car. They haven't been able to go testing as much as he'd like, with Mike unable to get away from some of his other business commitments. But they've certainly been working on the car, and they feel like they're in a good place now. So we'll find out, like I said, who did their work, and who's really ready to go. But the show misses something anytime one of the big categories is gone. And Pro Mod, I think, maybe even more than some of the others, simply because of the personalities that are out there. I certainly liked it a little bit better when we had a wider variety of cars. I liked it when we had some turbo cars and some nitrous cars out there mixing it up on a regular basis. But I think that, the show misses something when Pro Mod isn't there. The Minnesota fans, they got their first taste of it last year and seem to really embrace it. So I look forward to that again. And I just think I think it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be very entertaining, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and those guys haven't been through this, and we've seen they're a little hotter under the collar than everybody else as it is, and we've seen our regular Camping World Series drivers who are cool under the collar get heated because of the countdown and that added pressure that you can't possibly imagine until you're in the middle of it. So I can't wait to see the Pro Mod guys who are willing to get exciting for like $50. what are they going to do in this situation?
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's going to be very entertaining. They've got a lot of big personalities over there. They certainly got some guys that aren't afraid to speak their minds, and the fans like that. You either decide that, okay, this is my guy, or I don't like this guy. I want to see him get his butt kicked. But as long as you have a passion one way or the other, that's what the fans really get into. You got to have somebody to root for or somebody to root against, and there are plenty of big personalities in the Pro Mod pits.
Excellent. All right, Alan, we'll let you go. I know you got to go running, but thank you for making the incredible effort to make an appearance here on WFO. And you're up there in Brainerd. I'll be up there, heading up there tomorrow, and we'll get this one in, man. The Lucas Oil Nationals, Brainerd Zoo. Can't wait.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be fun. Probably going to be a little bit warm, but you know what? As long as we don't get anything falling out of the sky, Topeka was warm, but it's still a very entertaining, very fun race. Great weekend. Just Mother Nature screwing with us on Sunday. So hopefully we don't get any weather issues here, and we'll start rocking. We're getting closer and closer to Indy, and then that time it is game on. Game on, baby. Game on. All right, Alan. I'll see you up there. Thanks, Joe. Sorry to be so late. No worries. No worries. We did it. We got it in, baby. Alan Reinhart, the voice of the NHRA, joins us each week here on WFO Radio. And hey, one more piece of news. Since this has kind of been like a live show, right? We had the Krista Baldwin breaking news, parts call, needs a car for the Stampede of Speed. Let's hope, what will materialize? I can think of a couple of cars that are out there sitting. It's just, man, do you pay, let someone pay to borrow your top fuel dragster? Wow. That's tough stuff. I hope it all works out. But here's one. Ryan Elliott from the Snap-on team has just tweeted, cool opportunity for Snap-on and the NHRA to have a funny car on display in the Indy airport, right? Yes, 8/15/2023, 2:42 p.m., just 5 minutes ago, the Snap-on car, Cruz Pedregon's machine, is in the airport as we get ready for Indy. I think that is awesome. That the years that you don't have that, the race is not nearly as good. You've got to have that. Now, hopefully they put a QR code on it. Learn more about this for every average citizen that walks by, that looks at that car and says, what is that? Which I would say 95% of the people that walk by that car say, what is that? There needs to be a QR code on the car or on one of those little stanchions that says, learn more about this, that links you to either Cruz Pedregon Racing or an NHRA video, or this is drag racing. These cars accelerate 0 to 330 miles per hour in less than 4 seconds. You can watch them at Indianapolis Raceway Park at Lucas Oil. You've got to take the extra step for people. Now that everybody has a device in their hand that gives them details about everything in the world, why not just put a little QR code sticker on there so people can find out more? Just a thought. All right, guys, this is it. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Remember to watch for that video on our YouTube channel. The behind the scenes of Flying H Motorsports Park, all the details, all the everything. You're going to get it all.
how they built it and how they compacted it and when are they paving it and how much pavement and how much concrete and where is the top eliminator club and will they have suites and all of those things. Maybe there should be a QR code on your hero card. Yes, Monica, we've got it already loaded up. But, nobody cares about the history of the media of drag racing. Like Bobby Bennett was the first online magazine, and he, should get credit. When it came to podcast, live stream, right here, of course, nationwide radio show, right here, of course, first to use a QR code, right here, of course, first NHRA media mobile application, right here, of course. But the problem with the QR code, when we launched it, nobody knew how to use it and what that thing was. What is that thing? We were about 10 years before mass adoption of the QR code. Now, everything should have a QR code so that people can scan and find out more or buy a ticket. Come see this thing race. QR code. Maybe there should be 4. What is it? Where to see it? Buy tickets. Why wouldn't you? All right, guys, thank you very much. Hey, Joe, are you going to put up a new interview with Andrew Hines? Thanks. Yeah, it's on Hidden Horsepower. Total Seal, Hidden Horsepower. Search for that. Andrew Hines interview about sweeping the Western Swing. Yeah, QR codes are not new. They're just mass adoption now. They've been around for a long time. All right, guys. Project Pontiac. Super excited. Thanks to Krista Baldwin. Thanks to all of you for sticking around. WFO.